Hi, Generals. We're continuing our look at reviewing the Civil War, which was created by Nancy Spellman, who creates advanced applications of the interactive whiteboard. Remember, we're looking at the EOY through the lens of the U.S. history course. Let's take a look at some information about the battles of the Civil War. Before we get to that, let's see if we can still remember some more Civil War facts. Remember yesterday we started off listing what we know about the Civil War, and then we touched the flags to check our knowledge. Hopefully you have some great notes that you took from yesterday. Let's continue and write more things that you remember about Civil War. Pause the video until everyone has written everything they can remember and share out what you wrote from what you remember about the Civil War. Unpause the video when everyone is done. Okay, let's check out the link again. And again, here are some list of the facts of the Civil War. See if any of yours match. Here are some more facts about the Civil War. Again, see if any of yours match. Okay, let's go back and continue with our look of the Civil War. Okay, here are the 10 bloodiest battles of the Civil War. Pause the video or go to the notebook file and write down the details of this graphic. Unpause the video when everyone is done. Okay, now let's continue to look through the eyes of a video that tells us about the casualties of war. Be sure to take some great notes. Okay, now let's do some activities. Again, if you have the notebook file, go ahead and go over to it and complete the activities listed on the last 5 to 8 pages. If you don't have the notebook file, then continue to view the video and complete the activities along with me. Here's our first one. Order the battles from the earliest to the latest. Again, based upon your notes that you wrote, order these battles. Pause the video until everyone is completed, and then we'll look at the answers together. Okay. Hopefully you wrote first Battle of Bull Run first, then the Battle of Shiloh, 7 Days Battle, the second Battle of Bull Run, the Battle of Antietam, the Battle of Fredericksburg, the Battle of Vicksburg, and the Battle of Gettysburg last. Okay, let's do another activity. These were the common flags for the Confederates and the Union. List the differences and similarities. Pause the video until everyone wrote their list of similarities and differences, and then discuss them as a class. Unpause the video when you are done. Okay, now let's do another comparison. Take a close look at the typical Confederate and Union soldier. What are the similarities and differences in their uniforms? Write a list for each one. And then what are the advantages and disadvantages of these uniforms in battle? Write a list for each one as well. Pause the video until everyone has created their list and then discuss as a class. Unpause the video when you're done. Okay, let's wrap up with this video, and we'll continue to look at Civil War tomorrow, but through the lens of pictures taken.
That took us to war, took us to war. The Missouri Compromise of 1820, Missouri Compromise of 1820. This law created an imaginary line through the Louisiana Territory. All states north would be free states, all states south would be slave states. This worked until 1850 when California asked to be part of the United States. This upset the balance of free and slave states. Then came the Compromise of 1850, allowing territories to decide on slavery. The North had to obey the slave law fugitive, a law that put California to the Union. The fugitive slave law required police in free states to help capture escaped slaves. The free Americans can be caught and sold into slavery, The Kansas and Nebraska Act 1854 law allowed Kansas and Nebraska territories to decide if they want slavery. Then came Dred Scott, 1857 decision from Supreme Court. Dred Scott was enslaved, asked the court for his freedom since his owner lived in a free state. The court said no, he was private property, and the owner can take anywhere his private property. Then came the John Brown raid, when John Brown and his followers invaded a building in Virginia that was used to store government weapons. They were all arrested. John Brown was an abolitionist with hopes to rebel in slavery with his actions. That took us to war, took us to war, took us to war. Many things, like political things, slavery things, expansion things, economic things. That took us to war, took us to war, took us to war. Many things, like political things, slavery things, expansion things, economic things. That took us to war, took us to war. The election of 1860, they knew Abraham Lincoln stood against slavery. During this election, he was the only candidate out of 4 that stood against slavery. Lincoln agreed if he was president, he'd leave slavery alone where it already exists. The problem was, if no new states became slave states, government majority would go to the free states. In the South, this angered them. They threatened to secede if Lincoln won. By March 1861, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Texas, Georgia, Louisiana, and South Carolina had formed a new country called the Confederate States of America, known as the Confederacy. Jefferson Davis was picked for their presidency. When Lincoln took office, March 4th, 1861, more problems begun. Lincoln promised to occupy and control all federal land in the South. The South said no. In Charleston, South Carolina, the Union Army occupied Fort Sumter. Confederate Army shot through Sumter's walls, and that was the first battle of the Civil War. After Fort Sumter, North Carolina, Arkansas, Virginia, Tennessee left the Union. After Fort Sumter, North Carolina, Arkansas, Virginia, Tennessee left the Union. Many things, like political things, slavery things, expansion things, economic things, that took us to war, took us to war, took us to war. Many things, like political things, slavery things, expansion things, economic things, that took us to war, took us to war, took us to war.
Okay, hopefully that video will help you as you remember key parts of the Civil War. Have a great day, Generals.